A Ukrainian source tells CNN that a sea drone hit a Russian Navy ship in the Black Sea, causing what's described as serious damage. CNN's Nick Payton Walsh is covering the story for us in Ukraine.
The footage is grainy and dark. Then the target comes into view. Russia's Olengorsky Gornyak amphibious assault ship. An unmanned attack drone approaches its target. 450 kilograms of TNT detonates, and the feed cuts out. Russia claimed to have repelled this attack, but the video tells a different story. Ukraine's counter-offensive has in recent weeks reached further and further behind the front lines, forcing the Russian military to spread its sea and air defences. Hundreds of miles from Ukrainian-controlled territory, this was meant to be a safe anchorage, no longer. It used to be safe here, says one prominent military blogger, but Kiev's arm has grown longer. The rear no longer exists, he says.
The fact that such unfortunate incidents occur one after another will certainly be something for them to talk about today. For the political leadership of the Russo-fascist regime, this is, of course, a serious slap in the face.
All the same, Russia maintains the image of being in control. It says Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu visited troops in occupied Ukraine. The map they both point to so much worse for Moscow than ever imagined when they invaded nearly 18 months ago.
Now, we're looking at possibly £1,000 worth of explosive, according to Ukrainian officials, delivered here. A Russian blogger is saying that one compartment of that ship entirely flooded, and this so far from the front lines. Hundreds of miles will have to have been crossed to hit this Novorossiysk port on the Black Sea, a place that Russia simply could not have imagined just weeks ago could be a Ukrainian target. Wolf.
Nick Payton Walsh in Zaporizhia, Ukraine for us. Thank you very much. Let's discuss this with CNN military analyst Lieutenant General Mark Hertling and McCain Institute Executive Director Evelyn Farkas, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Evelyn, just how big of a blow is this to Russia?
Well, I think, Wolf, it's a blow, obviously, of prestige because this ship clearly is done. It's pretty badly hurt. It'll take a lot to repair it, if that's even possible. It's also a blow in terms of, you already heard in the package that Nick put together, it's a blow to the Russian military and the Russian civilians, Russian society. Nowhere is safe. And that's exactly what the Ukrainian government intended. Of course, they want to cripple as much of the Russian military infrastructure, the logistics, the actual platforms like this ship, but they also really want to damage as much as possible Russian morale. And that's not just military morale, but the morale of the civilians.
General Hertling, what does this strike reveal to you about Ukraine's capabilities right now and its counteroffensive strategy?
Well, it's interesting, Wolf, that mill blogger that you posted just now in the opening of the report said, nowhere it's safe. I got to tell you, if the Russians and the Ukrainians have not realized yet that there is no such thing as a rear area in modern combat operations, both of those sides are missing the point. But what it tells you about is no rear areas are safe. This is a ship that was on the southeastern side of the Black Sea, several hundred miles away from the Ukrainian landmass. It's a football. The ship itself is a football field long. It's called a ro-ro ship, roll on, roll off. It carries all sorts of equipment. There are 6 of them in the Black Sea. They're critical for amphibious operations, and it just takes away another operational capability of the Russian Navy. Russia never thought that this kind of thing would happen. This is now the second large ship of the Russian Navy that's been sunk by a country that doesn't have a Navy of their own. So it is very significant.
That's very significant indeed. Evelyn, I also want your thoughts on the Russian opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, being sentenced to 19 additional years in prison. What's behind this Russian crackdown on Navalny and dissidents for that matter?
Well, again, it's Vladimir Putin, demonstrating that he's in charge, trying to also destroy their morale. You will never see the light of day. You have no hope, against me. Of course, the irony is that the greater danger to Vladimir Putin and his regime, as we know, is from the nationalists, from the right. That's where we saw Prigozhin challenging him using military force. But he wants to make sure that the opposition and the elite sees him as the strong guy, putting Navalny down, trying to break Navalny's will. Of course, he would actually probably like to slowly kill Alexei Navalny because he doesn't like the challenge that he poses and the example that he sets.
Evelyn, let me follow up on a related issue. U.S. officials are telling CNN they're concerned that Putin is planning his war right now around the 2024 U.S. election, hoping a Republican administration would deprioritize Ukraine. Just how much is Putin counting on the U.S. to falter in its support for Ukraine?
Oh, I mean, well, we cannot underestimate Vladimir Putin's willingness and interest in interfering in our politics. It shocked me the first time he did it in 2016 during that presidential election. It no longer shocks me. We should be on the lookout. But it points to the fact, the linkage between your question here and the story we started with is U.S. assistance to Ukraine. We need to provide Ukraine with the assistance they need to get at these targets in Russia, these military targets. And we need to also remove the restrictions that we place when we give the Ukrainians Western equipment, because my understanding is that we restrict them from using our weaponry against Russian, valid military targets in Russia. So if we can bring this war to an end faster by removing those restrictions, by giving better, longer range artillery, then we reduce the likelihood, or at least the likelihood that Putin can succeed in interfering in our elections.
Evelyn Farkas and retired General Hertling, guys, thank you very, very much.